Today I just got home from a trip to Los Angeles, which is ironic because I actually live in Orange County, California. Don't track me down, okay? Don't track me down. But that's about an hour away. Whenever I do go to Los Angeles, it's so far away that it still feels like I'm out of town, but it's not so far away that I feel kind of isolated. And the reason I decided to stay there for a week, like get a room there for a week, is because I have an event during the weekend that is just too early for me to drive at 6 a.m. every day. So realistically, because I knew myself, I needed to give myself enough time by getting at least a bit closer to the venue. Since I'm there for the weekend, I might as well extend my trip so I can do something fun in LA. I went into this trip expecting nothing, but also being open to everything. I told you about how on the very first day of my trip, one of my housemates and I just got to talking. We immediately clicked, got along, decided to go out. It was a panel about female entrepreneurship and how sometimes when you start a project, you don't realize how down the line it could be related to something completely random, but still relevant. And so from an intellectual level, I was grateful that I had made a friend. I was able to attend such an educational event because of my new friend. But from an emotional level, I too was like feeling so glad that I made a new friend. Because it's hard to make a friend when you're in your 20s. It's hard to make a friend when you don't live close enough to be able to see people. Like, you know, in Orange County, you have to drive 20 minutes out to a coffee shop, or when you go out, you have to decide where to go and then head out. Unlike in LA or maybe in New York City, you just go out and then decide later, or something will catch your eye. So my intention going into this trip was just to stay open, just to stay spontaneous, be ready to receive. And long story short, every day during the last week has been really productive, spontaneous, fruitful. I meet new people, interesting things every single day. Just yesterday, another housemate moved in, and he's from Germany. He's been to LA, but it was like such a long time ago and not in the part of town that we're in. So he was brand new to the area, and come 6 o'clock, he's like, oh, I want to go out and explore. And I was like, oh, what are you exploring? But yeah, basically, long story short, I ended up going to Erewhon with him. And because he's completely new to town and I'm somewhat new to town, like I'm local in the sense that I could drive an hour down south and be home. But like, I don't know all the places in LA. I certainly don't go to Erewhon regularly. I occasionally go whenever I'm in town, but when I do go, it's still exciting. And it's so interesting to see things from his perspective because everything is so exciting and so fresh. And to some extent, the same with me. You know, like whenever I see gorgeous looking people, almost model looking people shopping at Erewhon, you know, like people watching at Erewhon, this super high-end luxury grocery store, is another feature that comes with the experience. Like buying expensive food, buying the Hailey Bieber smoothie, just sitting there enjoying your $20 salad. The whole thing is like going to a zoo. Like, I'm not actually there to buy food. I'm just there to buy the experience. I'm never coming back in the next foreseeable future. But while I'm there, I'm not going to be a party pooper. I'm not going to yuck people's yum. You know, I'm not going to be like, ooh, that's not worth $20. In a way, its worth is whatever you decide it is. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, do it or don't do it. So at that moment, I felt comfortable. I had a really good time. We got to chit chat a bit about his story. And then today I moved out. So the moral of this week is try to put yourself out there. But more importantly, when you put yourself out there, stay open-minded. Say yes to things and don't have any preconceived expectations, basically. I want to move on to the idea of embracing the unknown, which is kind of related to what we talked about before, saying yes, staying open-minded. But embracing the unknown, to me, just is a level above. A lot of times when we're in a transitional period of life, we're switching jobs, we're switching zip codes, we're switching the people around us. There's so much that is uncertain that we almost immediately label as unsafe, scary. Like we think of something not sure, uncertain equals not good, not safe, scary, not worth looking into. I've developed this theoretical understanding, this very mechanical understanding that being uncertain can sometimes bring about the best evolution. I'll give you an example. Before I launched my channel, before I decided that I want to make content on English, on language learning, I was working at a sales job. Although I wasn't getting paid a whole bunch, it wasn't even like a high-in-demand job. It was a stable income. You know, no matter how well I did during the month, there's always money coming in. When I decided to pursue my English teaching journey full-time, I wasn't sure where that money can come in the next day, the next week, the next month. I was uncertain, yet my excitement overpowered my uncertainty, my scarcity mindset. Certainly being young helped. I was only 22, 21. I decided if I fail at this thing, it's not the end of the world. I could go find another job, or like I just knew something will work. I knew that given more time, if I have more time and more energy to really hone in on this, I could make it. Now, I didn't foresee myself making a fortune where even making this my full-time gig. Not that I'm saying I made it myself right now, but I certainly don't have to go have a job now, you know, to have a comfortable lifestyle here. When I was hustling, so to speak, I really didn't know how it was going to turn out. I was uncertain, scared shitless every day, just because you don't know when money is going to come in. Luckily, I had found a tutoring gig offline, so that was giving me consistent income. So I had the capacity, space, and time to play with my online career. The reason I bring up this story is because I was probably the most scared back then. I occasionally still feel scared and uncertain about where things can go, but I just realized that that's what everybody feels at all times. Like, it's a normal thing. Even if you have a stable job, you're still gonna feel scared about your bills, your child, everything. Like, we are so vulnerable. We're just floating on this giant rock in the universe. We're so small compared to so many things. Any natural disaster can kill us at any moment. We're at the mercy of so many things, and yet some of us choose to override that uncertainty. Some of us let the uncertainty, the scarcity mindset devour us. I think most people are somewhere in between. Like, hopefully no one is at either extreme. Like, if you don't have any fear, you're not gonna see a train coming your way almost running you over. But if you are so overpowered, overwhelmed by that fear to the point that it paralyzes you, that you can't do anything, you can't put your best foot forward in everything you do every single day, then we have a problem. And whenever I feel truly scared, I think back to my own story, to 2017, 2018, when I quit my job, when I had $2,000 in my savings account and $2,000 in credit card debt. So I was like at net zero. Basically, I was the most scared and somehow the most fearless simultaneously because I had nothing to lose. I decided to give it my best shot, and if I failed, I can always try another thing. And I want to instill this laissez-faire attitude, this fuck it, let's try it, might as well try it kind of attitude in you, especially if you're young. If you have a full family to support, children to support, parents to support, maybe don't go about it so willy-nilly like I did. But if you're in your early 20s or in your early teenage years, if you have a project, if you have a career that you want to pursue, just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? you can totally do it. You are so much more powerful than you think. You have so much more credential than you think. When you're young, when you don't have a lot of experiences or credits under your belts, your advantage is your time. Your advantage is sometimes working for free, interning for someone that you admire. Your talent could also just be your enthusiasm, because that's the essence of youth. You know, we stay excited, we stay curious about things, whereas people that are well into their retirement years are probably just more focused on living their best life. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think people neglect how powerful and how much of a talent in itself just being excited and enthusiastic is. Over the weekend, I attended a short film workshop. That's what I was in LA for. And one of the speakers or instructors on the panel was, I'm pretty sure he's only 24 or 23. He's younger than me, but he started out as an editor for famous YouTubers. And the reason that he got his gig was because he just sent out a care box with his resumes embedded in creative ways when he was 15 or 14. He just had a dream. He did not question, are they even looking for people? He did not question, am I old enough? He did not question, do I have enough credentials? He just had a wish and had a strong desire and was excited about it and was willing to approach people, risking being rejected. He thought outside of the box. Like everyone was sending resumes, he sent a care box with gifts, with cookies, with his resume printed on a milk carton, unlike what most people do, which is printing a resume on a piece of paper. So he thought outside of the box. That probably made him stand out. But still, most people don't think like that. First of all, most people don't even realize some of the best jobs in the world are not putting their hiring ads on LinkedIn or whatever website there is out there. It's friends you know. It's the parents' friends that your parents might have mentioned once. Like, that's how I found many job opportunities. It's like word of mouth, or sometimes I create a job that wasn't there. Like last year, I found out my friends were doing a podcast, and I probably shouldn't have done this. I was so busy, but I signed myself up to be their videographer, their social media director, and I was able to, with their help, grow their Instagram from 200 followers to 30,000 followers in a span of 6 months. I mean, granted, it wasn't just all me. Like, they were actively producing podcasts, but that position was not existent before. They were not looking for a social media director. I saw an opportunity. I saw how I could help them. I worked on the project with them for free, but so is everyone else. Like, everyone else is working on this for free. But certainly, just because something is free doesn't mean it doesn't have value. That's another thing. A lot of times, opportunity comes in the disguise of work. And you have to put yourself to work. And when you do your job, you might actually have a job. And with this project, with my friend's podcast, even though I wasn't making money from that, I was able to get referred to a lot of people, like monetizable projects. Like a lot of people were reaching out to me, asking me advice, hiring me, or at least trying to hire me as their social media director. Sadly, I had to turn them down because that's not what I do for a living. And more importantly, I don't have enough time to do a good job. But certainly if I wanted to, I could potentially pursue this as an additional way to make money. And even with English teaching, I started out giving not even free videos. Like, I was going to people's houses when they invited me over. A lot of Chinese friends around me, at least the parents' generation, struggled with learning how to speak English, learning how to even approach learning English. So a lot of times I would just volunteer. I gave a lot of unsolicited advice. They did not ask me for English learning advice, but I just put myself out there, if anything, to practice my sales pitch. And I think I probably wouldn't have that urge to jump online, to write video scripts, to show my face to the world, had I not had the offline, in real time interaction with people. If I did not hear people's concerns or misconceptions in real life, and in my head collect all these data points, I would not even know what to speak about in my videos. To recap, embracing the unknown with an open-minded attitude, creating opportunities for yourself when people aren't explicitly asking is the key to carving a path for yourself. And a lot of times this path is the road less traveled, which can sound scary because everyone else is taking a safe route. There's a reason people are taking a safe route, right? It's safe, it's guaranteed. But taking the road less traveled has its perks because most of the time you have no competition. Second, because you have no competition, you're the only one that gets to decide how big and wide, how far your path could go. For instance, I work at home, I work for myself, I fully control how much money I make, how much I work, how many hours I work a week. And I respect my friends who work stable jobs. I envy them sometimes, because it's always guaranteed. But certainly when life gets in the way or when my mom needs me to help her out with something, I appreciate the freedom, the flexible hours that I get by working at this job. It certainly is a lot better than the last job that I had. The only job that I ever had in America, which is working at my sales job, traveling to different states, going to convention centers, like talking to people about printers, which is fine, but I don't really know much about printers. And I was in a very, very dark place emotionally. So yeah, I am so grateful and privileged to be able to work at home and have an audience and have this career path that I carved out myself. You'd be surprised by just how rewarding stepping into the unknown is, even though in the moment it's the most scariest thing ever. And luckily I had two parents that have done something similar, so they modeled that behavior for me, especially with my mom. She's so supportive and loving that it made me feel like I can do no wrong. Obviously, I'm not out here doing drugs or abusing alcohol, but even when I failed, certainly in the beginning when I wasn't getting any views or there's no immediate instant measure of success, I did not beat myself down because my parents have instilled such a strong, unwavering faith in myself that I did not feel like I have to succeed tomorrow. Maybe that's the key. I realized that not many people have that. Maybe I didn't get all of it from my parents. Certainly, sometimes they also doubt my path, but reading books can help. Watching inspirational videos such as this one, hopefully, can help instill that faith in yourself. You can borrow faith from other people, from reading their stories and seeing how they've come out of their difficult periods with faith, with grace. Then you can think, ooh, when I'm experiencing similar levels of difficulty, rest assured everything's going to be fine. And trust me, everything's going to be fine. Everything always works out. Repeat after me. Everything always works out. I can do this. I can do this well. I am way more powerful than I ever imagined. I am way smarter than I ever thought I would be. I can do this. I need to do this. I am built for this. I am meant to do this. I will triumph no matter what. It's just a matter of time. And it really is a game of time. Any instant reward, immediate instant gratification is not real. The only reason I have all of this is because in 2014, 2015, I planted a seed of maybe I can teach English. And maybe I can teach English better than most teachers that I knew at the time, at least. And I didn't start my channel until 4 years later. My channel didn't get any traction until 6 months later. And I still am not the most followed person, the most followed English teacher. I don't make the most money. I know some creators make a lot more than I do. That's not my priority right now, to always think of what yields more income. I care about a balance of what yields monetary rewards and also what is the most fulfilling to me. I think to strike a balance between both key elements is what kept me going after all these years, because a lot of times creators get burnt out. That's another thing. But maybe that's for another day, another discussion. You could do this. Okay? Embrace the unknown. happily with confidence. Remember that I also was uncertain, and most people were when they transitioned into a different era of their life. And if you're not scared shitless, you're not challenging yourself enough, you're so in your comfort zone, and who wants to do that? All right, that's it for this video, for this podcast, and I'll catch you in another time. Bye.